What's up, everybody? It's Muse. So today we're coming at you with the Zieten. This ship I have personally nicknamed the Death Star. I have fallen in love with this thing since I got it. This clip we're going to feature right here. This is the first battle after I had it fully upgraded, and it does not disappoint. It opens up with a close quarters double strike. Right after my fellow Zieten on the other side gets the first blood. So between the two of us, we killed 3 ships in the opening salvos, which is pretty nasty. This ship, there's going to be quite a bit that we talk about. There's going to be multiple ways this ship can be employed. The thing is deadly, make no mistake about it. This thing is absolutely deadly. I haven't seen... There's an effect this ship has on the red team. I haven't seen it since literally when Weimar first dropped and nobody knew how to deal with it. And that is, like, people see this thing and, like, I've had more games where I can't get damage because the red team just bails when they see this thing or when they start getting tagged by it. Like, they don't want to fight this. I don't blame them. It is nasty, especially with the build we have going on it. The firepower this thing lays down is disgusting. First of all, the guns, are they the best of the tier? No, but they are nasty. They are fairly big guns. They are punchy. Not the best dispersion on them, but they do work. They definitely do work. The HE is not phenomenal, but it's decent. The AP definitely smacks, especially if you can catch citadels. Like if somebody shows you broadside, oh, it hurts. The AP definitely hurts on this thing. And the awesomest thing about it is the size of the guns and how fast they reload. I believe they're the fastest reload for their size. They are just... This thing is disgusting. And when you employ it the right way, it is filthy and it does work. Anybody that chases one of these things is just begging to get killed. Like, just begging. So what you'll see a lot in this video is me in reverse. This thing, the firepower that comes off the rear end of this thing is absolutely incredible. So basically what I've been doing in matches is positioning myself to where I know I can make a turn and get the ass end of this thing engaged. And there's going to be a video where I show you how to push with it, push a cap. I'll do that in reverse. And then also there's going to be videos where I'm kiting with it. And this thing, when its ass end is pointing at you, it means business. Like, it means business. Like, if you see a Zieten and you're looking at the rear of it, get ready or get out of there, because you're in for it. So right here, we're doing work on this whole side. If you look at the mini-map, you can see I'm over here alone. And I'm just not even scared. As long as I have the ass end of this thing pointed at, I am not scared. I have just the raw firepower to make stuff hurt. Now you can see I'm focusing on this Munchin, and I'm still just absolutely killing this battleship over here, just on the secondaries. Like, the secondaries on this thing are just so disgusting. They're, compared to, like, the German mainline of BBs, these secondaries feel more accurate, they have more penetration. Like, these secondaries are just filthy. Like, absolutely filthy. They're the first, like, a lot of my German battleships, especially the high tier ones, like, there's a lot of firepower on them. There's that double strike. Look at that. That is gorgeous. They have a lot of firepower, but it's all over the place, and the dispersion is horrible. Not with these. With these, your secondaries are going to light people up, do damage, set fires. It is gorgeous. So that's the end of that clip. We're going to move on to the next one. Let's go. So this will be the next battle. The reason I'm featuring this one is this is one of the first battles I had in Z10. I don't even have upgrades on it in this battle. I'm running, you can see the will to rebuild up in the corner. That's not even what I run on it for my final build. When I get to the build at the end of the video, you'll see will to rebuild is nowhere on there. I do have to apologize for this particular fight. I did not have the game chat audio off, so somebody's like munching chips there on mic or doing whatever they're doing. so forgive that in the background, they'll end up stopping in a minute. So yeah, the reason this clip is in here though, even though it was one of my first battles, there's no upgrades, I'm running a build that I don't even have on it anymore, is I'm fighting a Bismarck and an Iowa, and I find the Bismarck fight particularly interesting because Bismarck's, you know, the other tier 7 German battleship, the other secondary king, and, you know, here we are, SN pointed at him, secondary's doing work, those main guns going to work, running HE here just because he's bowing to me. There's probably a point where he's going to open up and I'm just not willing to risk going to the AP. The HE is doing work on him, the secondaries are doing work on him. I'm well ahead in the HP race, so we're just going to stay with the HE for this fight. But you can see, like, there's nobody else over here, it's just me on this Bismarck. There's somebody else heading him now. But for the most part, it's me and this Bismarck, and this thing is just absolutely working him over. And this is basically the king of the secondaries right here. And he is getting shit on by secondaries, and it's absolutely gorgeous. So we're gonna deal with him, and then his buddy the Iowa is gonna come rolling in here, and we're gonna deal with an Iowa too. So that was why I featured this clip. Two very well-known battleships at tier 7. So to kind of show, and I mean, again, this is fully unupgraded, a build where I was still trying to figure out what the build for it was gonna be. So this is like this thing at its worst, and it's just absolutely stomping this Bismarck. It's gonna have its way with the Iowa. This thing is legit the Death Star. I don't care if it doesn't have the range of Bismarck. I don't care. The secondaries on this thing are so filthy, so much more accurate, so much more penetration. There's just no competition for me personally between this and the Bismarck. Forget Bismarck. This thing is my new king of secondaries right here. This is the Death Star. When this thing is looking at something with the ass end, the firepower is just so ridiculous. And especially with those guns, hitting with that size of gun every 20 seconds is just filth. Absolute filth. And then to have that firepower of the second, like, there's so much firepower on the rear end of this thing, it's just gross. It is absolutely insane. And I understand why red teams are running away from me. Like, I would be running away from it too if I was in a cruiser getting tagged up the way this thing tags things up. Like, no, I don't want to play with you. So I was also, you know, here trying to figure out the torps, how much lead things need. Unfortunately, I'm just going to give this guy, I believe, too much lead on that shot. He's going to end up going behind those. Watching to see what my team's doing. Initially, in this encounter, I was out here alone, so now I see my team's coming over here. You know, we've beat up a tier 7 battleship already, another one's halfway beat up, so now they're getting brave, coming on over here. Zieten does not care. Zieten is just fine operating alone. You know, if it's DDs, you got the sonar. Cruisers just... Cruisers don't stand a chance against this thing when you have that AP chambered and your secondaries, like, at some point they're gonna have to turn away from you, and when they make that turn, you're just gonna own them. Made a little bit of a mistake, turned out a little too much there. Iowa touched us. But we're gonna get our angle going again here and just finish him up. Had enough of him. Gave him some free damage. Yeah, stuff just... People don't want to mess with this thing, and it's... I haven't seen that since Weimar. I really haven't. So there we go. Bismarck, Iowa, goodbye. We fired the Akatsuki, but our teammates take him out. So, we're gonna move on to the next clip. Let's go. Alright, so in this next clip, we're going to start off with another Iowa. The reason I'm featuring this clip, this initially starts as a kite, and I'm going to end up pushing it. When you push a cap with this ship, you don't want to do it with the bow, you want to do it with the stern. Just turn around, reverse. Yeah, you can't go as fast as you can going forward, but one, you're gonna have a ridiculous amount of firepower. Two, if you need to, you can punch it out full throttle and you're automatically into a kite. Pushing with this thing in reverse, it is just nasty, nasty. I've been working on this video for quite a few days now, going out there playing, getting the content. It's been a ball playing this thing. It is just ridiculously strong, and, even in games where, like, my teams all died and, just potato fest, this thing was holding its own, and the firepower on it is just so gross, and especially, we engage this Iowa, we're in kiting, we're running away from him, just kiting him out. But once this Iowa dies, you're gonna see me pop it in reverse and start pushing this cap and pushing these ships that are back there. And I can't tell you how many matches over the past few days, like, the enemy team has just broke and run away from this thing. Like, unless they have just vastly superior numbers, people do not want to fight this thing. If you're angling right, it's hard to damage. The firepower coming off of it is just hurtful, like... I have a feeling this thing's gonna get nerfed. It's just too much. It really is. I mean, maybe not, because, like... Right now, I can't really get high damage games with it because people are disengaging. Like... I'm hitting, like, I don't think I've had a game below 50k damage. That's like my minimum. But people are literally just disengaging and running away from this thing, and I can't really, like, 50 to 70k is pretty much my average game right now, and that's the most I can get because people don't want to fight it. And the games where, I am getting, like, just swarms of people coming after me, I'm having big games. Like, it's just not that often that people are willing to push this thing or attack it or go after it. Like, people are running away from this ship. They do not like fighting this thing. And I mean, you see why. Look at this Hipper. Just getting chewed up. Nothing he can do about it. And later on we're gonna go into, like, the build and the stats and all that, and the armor's not anything amazing. You can get overmatched through the bow and the stern, but when you're angling and you're moving and you're the rudder shift on this thing isn't so bad, so you can kind of wiggle, and you can really, tank with that belt pretty good on this thing. A lot of people seem to be struggling with how to deal with this ship. When it's being used properly. I had a couple games when I was first playing it, trying to figure it out a little bit. I did potato stuff and, went charging bow in and showing people broadsides and got myself deleted. Once I got this thing figured out a little bit, though, no. Like, people are not enjoying being on the receiving end of the ass end of the ship. And there's just not a whole lot they can do with me. There's a clip that's going to be coming up here in a little bit where, I take on a Musashi, which is a tier 8 Yamato, and just literally burn the dude down, and there's nothing he can do about it. I basically end up fighting him and just, being able to turn out and tank with the belt. Like, there's nothing he can do with me. And so, I don't know, once, that Weimar effect lasted for a little bit, but then once people kind of got used to it, it wasn't, like people were running from it anymore or anything. And so, when that effect kind of settles down with this ship, I'm interested to see, like, what kind of average games it's having, and whether it needs to be nerfed or not. It is a dangerous ship. A very dangerous ship, and especially those secondaries. The secondaries on this thing are just absolutely do work. Games where, like, DDs are getting spotted in my secondary range and just absolutely chewed up, and I don't even look at them. Like, I'm getting kills I'm not even paying attention to. Like, I'm engaging with a battleship and getting kills on cruisers and DDs, and It's absolutely gorgeous. This thing is filthy. It's gonna have its haters, I'm sure. It's gonna have its people that, you know, don't know what they're doing. Like, you know, I was watching, somebody the other day doing a video on this, and they were basically saying, like, you know, this is gonna be a higher skill ship. And I definitely agree with that. I don't think this is the ship you want to be, you know, a brand new player and take out. This is gonna take some figuring out if game mechanics of, you know, tanking, of angling, you know, a lot more advanced components of gameplay to get this thing to be super effective. But when you figure it out, ooh my goodness. I'm not the biggest torp player, so you're not going to see me engage with the torps a whole lot. I don't do a whole lot of brawl. Like, I do brawl, but it's in reverse. Like I said, when I push, I'm pushing in reverse. I'm not going into a cap, like, bow in and just brawling it out. Because at some point, if I do that, I'm gonna have to make a turret. And I don't wanna... Sorry. I'm, like... Oh, okay. At some point I'll have to make a turn, and I don't want to do that. Like, if you show somebody broadside on this thing, you're gonna get punched. And there's a couple times during these clips, you see I show broadside, and I paid for it. So that's not the way you want to be using this thing, where you have to make any kind of major turns in front of somebody. You really want to keep it either pushing with the rear or kiting with the rear. And any other time, you know, if you got your front pointed at something, if you got your side broadside showing, hopefully you're not spotted and you're just in transit. But once you're into an engagement, like, you want to have your rear pointing at stuff. And that's kind of more of that advanced gameplay too, is being able to read the minimap and knowing where to make your turns, when to make your turns, where engagements are going to happen before they happen, so you can position yourself. Positioning is huge with this ship. It's literally the difference between having a big game or having, you know, a goose egg at the end of the game. Positioning is huge. Down here stealing their cap, nothing they can do about it. That's what you get. Brought that on yourselves. I don't feel bad about it. So now I know there was a cruiser down in our cap. I'm positioning myself here just in case he decides to try and run down the channel and reset us. And I know between the torps, the secondaries, and the main guns, like, when he comes off this corner, he's a dead man. With 20 seconds left, I don't think so, but it's better to be safe than sorry. Our cruiser that's in the cap with me is very low health, so I don't want him coming out and just, you know, absolutely wrecking that guy. So I'm just sitting on this corner to ensure that if anything comes down this channel, it's gonna get it. It doesn't matter though, the cap is taken. And all off a reverse push. So we're gonna go into the next clip here. So in this clip, initially me and this Olin go into Charlie. And I start to see there's a whole swarm coming at us, and I basically just start telling him, get out of there, get out of there. And I turn around, get into a kiting position, and we're gonna kite damn near this whole team all the way around the map and just rack up the damage on them. So now I'm starting to get a picture, we're starting to see what's out there. Now, what I see is that ship just to the right of Bravo coming from the mid-spawn. That tells me the mid-spawn is coming to Charlie. So now we're going to be dealing with a 6-on-2 over here. Not even a 6-on-3, a 6-on-2, me and the Oland. So I'm telling this Oland, just go. Get out of here, let's go. I'm going to get myself spun around. Oh, there was another ship with us, so it actually is a 6-on-3. But yeah, I'm telling this Oland, let's go, let's get out of here. I want to get into a kiting position. I'm not going to sit here and get farmed by, you know, 6 ships. Like, I'm not doing it. Let's go. And this kite is literally going to be what defines this match. I only end up finishing, you know, midway in the pack on XP, but I'm literally setting the tone for this fight, because as I'm kiting them, I'm doing tremendous damage to them. And then two, you can see my team, you know, like sitting there all to the alpha side of the map. And I'm gonna be pulling this red team through shots for them. And so it literally is the defining play of this match. This is what makes this match happen. You know what I mean? So, like, that's a beautiful thing when you have that much power. I can take 6 ships and hold them off and allow my team to get shots on them while I'm doing my own damage. And this clip was featured because this is what this ship excels at right here. Kiting. It is a boss at kiting. And if anything gets close, you start dropping torps. Like, this thing is so nasty at kiting. And I believe at one point in this, somebody's gonna catch me. You know, I'm gonna turn out a little too much. Somebody's gonna catch me. But with, you know, 6 ships, that's... I'm not too concerned with it. The kiting on this thing is phenomenal. So, while we're watching, you know, kiting the 2/3 of the enemy team here, we're gonna talk about the downside of this ship. And the downside is going to be the damage control. It is limited. You get 3. If you wanted to, you could run a generic commander or a cruiser commander, run the fully packed, get an extra DC, extra heal, extra, you know, all your extra consumables. I don't recommend that. It's not worth it. And if you play Russian battleships, you're used to managing DCs. And then with the build we have, it makes managing those 3 DCs a lot easier. A lot easier, because we have a lot of fire mitigation. So, like, a single fire, we're not even going to sweat it. Let it burn unless we know there's nothing else that can set us on fire, and then maybe put it out to save some HP if we're low HP. Outside of that, I don't care about a single fire. It's not going to do enough to make me worry about it. Double fire, questionable. Depends on situation, HP, stuff like that. Triple fire, you're going to go ahead and use a DC. But triple fire with the build we have is going to automatically put itself out. So mostly you're concerned with the doubles. And again, that's going to be situational. For me personally, early in a fight, I don't want to necessarily DC a double unless I really, really have to. I try to save my DCs for the end of the fight. That way, if I need them, they're there. But, you know, I've even had a couple games where I was out of DCs and just this thing, it has some tankiness to it. It's got lower HP, but it's got some tankiness. And with the build we're running, it can definitely, you know, there's a lot of fire mitigation. So it can deal with HE spammers. It can deal with, you know, IJN BBs. It can deal with fire fairly well. But that's going to be the biggest drawback to the ship, is the management of those DCs. And you want to conserve those DCs at all costs. You get 3 heals, so if you want to let 2 fires burn and then just heal it up, do that. Late in a fight, I wouldn't do that. Low HP, I wouldn't do that. But, you know, full HP beginning of a fight, I might let 2 fires burn and then just use a heal to mitigate some of the damage done by that burn. But that is, you know, again, if you've played Russian BBs, you know all about the, you know, managing your damage controls and how important that is and how much of a difference it can make in a match, and that's one of the determining factors on this ship. Now, that was kind of interesting because they hit me for a triple fire and it didn't put itself out. So this may be actually an earlier video when I'm still running the will. But eventually, as I said, the build will be at the end of the video and you can see we're not running willed, we're running fight fire with fire. And what that's going to do is, again, put out triple fires. It's going to give you damage mitigation on fires. And combined with the perk that we run, on the commander. We're gonna have a lot of mitigation. We're gonna have a lot of control of fire. So, HE spammers are still a threat, but not as much of a threat as they would be without that build. So, like, we've been kiting out 6 ships. We still got HP, you know, we're getting low, but, you know, we've already done 50k damage in a kite, not, you know, direct engagement. I can't directly engage because I'm the only thing out here. And these guys are gonna push me. Like, they're literally gonna push me down into alpha, and there's nothing I can do about that, but as long as I keep my ass at them, keep damage going. And I'm sure some of them were frustrated, because, you know, like, they're chasing me to the end of frickin' Narnia. They want to kill me. Like, I'm a thirst trap at this point, and this is when this thing excels. When people chase this thing, you've made a mistake. And yeah, I mean, I get pushed right to the edge of the map, then we're gonna ride the edge of the map, like... But this is kiting. If it was just 3 ships in my... I wouldn't have had to kite this far, but like I said, we got pushed by a lot of ships. We're down to 4 now, but I'm so low HP, I want my team to engage a little bit, so I'm not taking fire from everybody on the frickin' red team, which we've been doing the whole match. So what we're gonna do is let them get up into it a little bit, let them, you know, basically use some of our teammates' HP. They've kind of done nothing. They've been down here at Alpha the whole match. No help to me. So now we're gonna go ahead and use them a little bit. Like, use your HP up. And, you know, we're just gonna start farming damage here. Like here, we're not kiting, we can actually, you know, we're not spotted, we're behind it, we can actually pick our shots a little more. So now we can put out a lot more damage than when we were kiting. Like, don't get me wrong, this thing does plenty of damage kiting. We did 50 some odd K damage kiting. But now we get to be really selective and really, you know, go do some juiciness. Pick our shots and play around and... Now, one thing I'm watching with this Odin, again, I'm low health, so, you know, I don't want to be too brave. I'm watching where his guns are, because I am spotted again at this point once he came out past that island. So I'm really trying to watch where his guns are. It doesn't matter, he's gone. On to the next. King George is going to come out right in front of us. And the guns can be a little trolly. The dispersion's not the best, but as you see there, when they connect, they connect. And you can take big chunks off people. You know, again, you can burn them down with the HE. The HE seems to be pretty good at setting fires. The main gun HP, the secondary HP is definitely good at setting fires. But with the main gun HP, I seem to get quite a bit of fires. So you can, you know, burn people down with HE. If they give you a nice shot, you can go AP. That 20 some odd second reload is in the realm of a French battleship, you know, so... It's just a very powerful ship, and I think a lot of people are going to underestimate it because it is going to take higher skill to play it and be effective with it, and... There's going to be a lot of people who get this ship that just, they're not that good with it. And so, you know, there's going to be, you know, your players that go and just stomp all over these things all the time. And then when you get somebody who actually knows what they're doing with this thing, they're going to find out. They're going to find out it's not as easy as, you know, when you're stomping a potato who has one of these. Look at, touched him. Touched him. And we're already almost reloaded again. Like, this thing is just so nasty with firepower. So nasty. And when I go over my build, I'm going to talk about why I chose who I chose, because we could actually get more I have Hipper, and we could actually get more secondary range with Celiacs, but again, I'll discuss why we're going to go with Hipper on this when we get to that part, which is going to be coming up shortly. I believe this is the last clip as far as like combat footage. And after that, we're going to go into a breakdown of the build, the stats. So yeah, pretty much 100k because we kited across the map and then came back in after our team engaged. Free 100k, I'll take it. Miss Flatty right there. Game's gonna end here. And that's it. Game over. So we do 100k, we end up finishing middle of the team, as you'll see here in a second, but the important thing is we allowed what we allowed our team to do. Even though we only finished middle of the pack, we allowed our team to have a good game. Alright, then we're going to move into the build. So right here, I'm just showing you who I have under the guise. It's Franz von Hipper, one of the secondary commanders for the German BBs. And so for their base trait, we have Elbow Room, which is a secondary trait that everybody should know. Secondary gun range and some dispersion. Then we have Haruna, giving us more range, more dispersion. And then we have Geisler, giving us reload, basically increasing our secondary DPM. That was one of the reasons I chose Hipper, so I could have all three of those, the base trait and the two inspirations. First perk's going to be a good day's work, damage control party cooldown. I just didn't like any of the other perks, so I know, we have limited damage cons, but whatever. Gyrating drill bits, that's going to give us traverse speed and mostly the most important AP shell damage. That's what we want. This is why I took Hipper over Celiacs. I wanted the dispersion on the main guns. And on top of that, having all three of those, the base trait and the two inspirations. Then we have Properly Meticulous, going to give us more reload time on the secondaries, as well as enhanced secondary targeting duration. And then we have Fight Fire with Fire, which is super important on this build with the limited damage cons. It's what I run on all my Russian BBs, so yeah, it applies here. Alright, so next we're going to go into the consumables. So let's take a look here. We have our damage control party. Again, you're only going to get 3 of these. Management of them is super important. Repair party, not the best heal in the game, but it works. Secondary targeting. This is, when you turn that on, it's filth. Sonar, we go out to 5-6. Very nice sonar. Very nice. Enables us to do quite a number of things. Camo, I'm running the Italian Regia Marina camo and the Golden Potato flag. Moving. Alright, so we're going to take a look at the upgrades and modules. So for the first one, we're running Secondary Bad Mod 2. Steering gear is Mod 2. Second slot. Third slot, gonna be Concealment Mod. And for the very last slot, we are gonna go with Secondary Mod 3. So that's gonna be the modules we're running. Just to show you what the upgrades are, we have the hull. It's gonna give you hit points, rudder shift, and some extra torpedo tubes. We have the targeting system, which is gonna give you more range on the main guns. And then we have the engine, which is going to give you, I believe, like 2 knots more speed. So not super important, but it's... Okay, stats. Survivability, we are looking at 62,900, again, kind of on the low side. 19 to 380 millimeters on the armor. Torpedo damage reduction, 22%. Artillery, we have 3 times 2, 406 on the mains. 8 times 2, 105. 4 times 1... 150s and 4 times 2 150s. Torpedoes, we have 2 times 4 533 millimeters, 7.5 range. Mostly those are going to be used on kiting or brawling. I don't brawl a whole lot, so mostly kiting. For the AA, it's not too bad, 75. You have 12 times 4, 30 millimeters, and 8 times 2, 105 millimeters. Not the worst AA, not the best, but it's there, and it helps. Maneuverability, the maximum speed is 28.7, turning a circle of 820. This thing does turn a little slow, so really, really watch your turns, especially if you're spotted in front of people. Don't do it. Just disengage and find someplace else to turn. Concealment's going to be 12.7. The detectability by air is 10.6, and the guaranteed is 2. It's a battleship. It's going to get detected. No other way about that. So there's a quick rundown on the stats, and let's move on. So we're going to take a look at the armor. As you can see, the side of the ship is very well protected. That's what you want to be tanking with. If you're familiar with British BBs, they belt tank. That's what you want to do with this thing. You don't want to be pointing your stern at people. You don't want to be pointing your bow at people. You don't want to be sitting broadside. You want a belt tank. Citadel is not turtleback, so if you're sitting broadside to somebody, you're going to pay for it. Don't want to do that. Some deck armor. Going to help a little bit with the plunging fire. Still don't want to be taking a whole lot of plunging fire. And the bow and the stern, again, you don't want shots coming through your bow. Things are going to overmatch. Things are going to come through. You want to be belt tanking. That's how this thing's going to be most effective. And so that's a look at the armor, and we are going to move on. Let's go. Alright, so we have secondary reach, above average secondaries. Secondaries live up to the hype. Extended sonar going out to 5.6. Frail, little less HP. It says it's a fast battleship, but this thing is not very fast. And that's going to conclude Zieten. So, in summary, manage your DCs well. If you're going to push, do it with the rear end of the ship. And if you're going to kite, do it with the rear end of the ship. Do not turn in front of people. Whatever you do, it's slow to turn and you're going to get deleted. I hope y'all have a great day. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed the video. Zieten, like I said, my nickname for it is the Death Star. This thing, I've really had a blast playing it the last couple days. Lowest games are 50, 60k. Very awesome ship. Thank you. Catch y'all later. Bye.